In Norse mythology, the Einherjar fighters are those who have died in battle and are brought to Valhalla by valkyries. In Valhalla, the Einherjar eat the fill of the nightly-resurrecting beast Sæhrímnir and are brought the fill of mead by valkyries. The Einherjar prepare daily for the events of Ragnarök, when they will advance for an immense battle at the field of Vígríðr, the battle which the Ein refers to. Heimdall occasionally returned the best of Einherjar to Midgard at Jotunheim with the purpose of killing giants, but they were forbidden to talk with the living. The Einherjar are attested in the Poetic Edda, compiled in the 13th century from earlier traditional sources, the Prose Edda, written in the 13th century by Snorri Sturluson, the poem Hákonarmál as collected in Sæhrímnir, and a stanza of an anonymous 10th century poem commemorating the death of Eric Bloodaxe known as Eiríksmál as compiled in Fagskinna. Scholarly theories have been proposed etymologically connecting the Einherjar to the Hæriði, the eternal battle of Þjóðning, and the wild hunt. The Einherjar have been the subject of works of art and poetry. The Valhalla is the place of Odin. It is told in Norse mythology that Einherjar are those with golden auras only seen by valkyries. The Einherjar are the warriors trained by Asgardians. Attestations. Poetic Edda. In the poem Vafthrûdnismál, Odin engages the wise Jotun Vafthrûdnir in a game of wits. Disguised as jüngere, Odin asks Vafthrûdnir, where men fight in courts every day. The Vafthrûdnir responds that, in the poem Grímnismál, Odin tells the young Agnar that the cook Andrimnir boils the beast Sæhrímnir, which he refers to as the best of pork. In the container Eldrimnir yet adds that but few know by what the Einherjar are nourished. Further into Grímnismál, Odin gives a list of valkyries, and states that they bear ale to the Einherjar. Towards the end of the poem, another reference to the Einherjar appears when Odin tells the king Vígríðr that Vígríðr is drunk, and that Vígríðr loses much when he loses his favor and the favor of all the Einherjar. In the poem Helgikva the Hungdingsbarneri, the hero Sinfjotli fights with Gudmundr. Sinfjotli accuses Gudmundr of having once been a female, including that he was a witch, horrible, unnatural, among Odin's valkyries, and that all of the Einherjar had to fight headstrong women on your account. Prose Edda. In the Prose Edda book Gifagynning, the Einherjar are introduced in chapter 20. In chapter 20, Third tells Gangleri that Odin is called Valfod since all those who fall in battle are his adopted sons, and that Odin assigns them places in Valhalla and Vindgolf where they are known as Einherjar. In chapter 35, High quotes the Grímnismál Valkyrie list, and says that these valkyries wait in Valhalla, and the serve drink, and look after tableware and drinking vessels in Valhalla. In addition, High says that Odin sends valkyries to every battle, that they allot death to men, and govern victory. In chapter 38, High provides more detail about the Einherjar. Gangleri says that, you say that all those men that have fallen in battle since the beginning of the world have now come to Odin in Valhalla. What has he got to offer them? Food. I should have thought that there must be a pretty large number there. High replies that it is true there are a pretty large number of men there, adding many more have yet to arrive, yet that there will seem too few when the wolf comes. Quote, however, High adds that food is not a problem because there will never be too many people in Valhalla that the meat of Sæhrímnir cannot sufficiently feed. High says that Sæhrímnir is cooked every day by the cook Andrimnir in the pot Eldrimnir, and is again whole every evening. High then quotes the stanza of Grímnismál mentioning the cook, meal, and container in reference. Further into chapter 38, Gangleri asks if Odin consumes the same meals as the Einherjar. High responds that Odin gives the food on his table to his two wolves Jerry and Freki, and that Odin himself needs no food, for Odin gains sustenance from wine as if it were drink and meat. High then quotes another stanza from Grimnismal in reference. In chapter 39, Gangleri asks what the Einherjar drink that is as plentiful as the food, and if they drink water. High responds that it is strange that Gangleri is asking if Odin, the All-Father, would invite kings, earls, and other men of rank to his home and give them water to drink. High says that he swears by his faith that many who come to Valhalla would think that he paid a high price for a drink of water if there were no better beverages there, after having died of wounds and in agony. High continues that atop Valhalla stands the Jotunheim, and it feeds on the foliage of the tree called Lerith. From Heidrun's udders flow mead that fills a vat a day. The vat is so large that all of the Einherjar are able to drink to the fullness from it. In chapter 40, Gangleri says that Valhalla must be an immense building, yet it must often be crowded around the doorways. High responds that there are plenty of doors, and that crowding doesn't occur around them. In support, High again quotes a stanza from Grimnismal. In chapter 41, Gangleri notes that there are very many people in Valhalla, and that Odin is a very great lord when he commands such a troop. Gangleri then asks what entertainment the Einherjar have when they're not drinking. High responds that every day, the Einherjar get dressed and put on war gear and go out into the courtyard and fight each other and fall upon each other. This is their sport. High says that when dinner time arrives, the Einherjar ride back to Valhalla and sit down to drink. In reference, High quotes a stanza from Grimnismal. In chapter 51, High foretells the events of Ragnarök. After the god Heimdall awakens all the gods by blowing his horn Gjallarhorn, they will assemble at a thing. Odin will ride to the well Mimisbrunn and consult Mimir on behalf of himself and his people. The world tree Yggdrasil will shake, and then the Æsir and the Einherjar will don their war gear. The Æsir and Einherjar will ride to the field Vígríðr while Odin rides before them clad in a golden helmet, mail, and holding his spear Gungnir, and heading towards the wolf Fenrir. In chapter 52, Gangleri asks what will happen after the heavens, earth, and all of the world are burned and the gods, Einherjar and all of mankind have died, noting that he had previously been told that everyone will live in some world or other forever and ever. High replies with a list of locations, and then describes the re-emerging of the world after Ragnarök. The Einherjar receive a final mention in the Poetic Edda in chapter 2 of the book Skaldskaparmál, where a quote from the anonymous 10th century poem Eiríksmál is provided. Heimskringla. At the end of the Heimskringla saga Hakona saga Gotha, the poem Hakonamál is presented. The saga relates that King Håkon I of Norway died in battle, and yet though he is Christian, he requests that since he has died among heathens, then give me such burial place as seems most fitting to you. The saga relates that, shortly after Håkon died on the same slab of rock that he was born upon, that he was greatly mourned by friend and foe alike, and that his friends moved his body northward to Sæhrímnir in North Hordaland. Håkon was buried in a large burial mound in full armor and his finest clothing, yet with no other valuables. Further, words were spoken over his grave according to the custom of heathen men, and they put him on the way to Valhalla. The poem Hakonamál is then provided. In Hakonamál, Odin sends forth the two valkyries Gondul and Skogul to choose among the king's kinsmen and who in battle should dwell with Odin in Valhalla. A battle rages with great slaughter. Håkon and his men die in battle, and they see the Valkyrie Gondul leaning on a spear shaft. Gondul comments that both now the gods following, since Håkon has been with hosts a goodly bidden home with holy godheads. Håkon hears what the Valkyries said, and the Valkyries are described as sitting high-hearted on horseback, wearing helmets, carrying shields, and that the horses wisely bore them. A brief exchange follows between Håkon and the Valkyrie Skogul. Skogul says that they shall now ride forth to the green homes of the godheads, to tell Odin the king will come to Valhalla. In Valhalla, Håkon is greeted by Hermod Bragi. Håkon expresses concern that he shall receive Odin's hate, yet Bragi responds that he is welcome. Sæhrímnir. In Chapter 8 of Sæhrímnir, a prose narrative states that, after the death of her husband Eric Bloodaxe, Gunhild, mother of kings, had a poem composed about him. The composition is by an anonymous author from the 10th century and is referred to as Eric's Mal, and describes Eric Bloodaxe and 5 other kings arriving in Valhalla after the death. The poem begins with comments by Odin. The god Bragi asks where a thundering sound is coming from, and says that the benches of Valhalla are creaking, as if the god Baldr had returned to Valhalla, and that it sounds like the movement of 1,000. Odin responds that Bragi knows well that the sounds are for Eric Bloodaxe, who will soon arrive in Valhalla. Odin tells the heroes Sigmund and Sinfjotli to rise to greet Eric and invite him into the hall, if it is indeed he. Sigmund asks Odin why he would expect Eric more than any other king, to which Odin responds that Eric has red and his gore-drenched sword with many other lands. Eric arrives, and Sigmund greets him, tells him that he is welcome to come into the hall, and asks him what other lords he has brought with him to Valhalla. Eric says that with him are 5 kings, that he will tell them the name of them all, and that he himself is the 6th. Theories and proposed etymological connections. According to John Lindo, Andy Orchard, and Rudolf Simek, scholars have commonly connected the Einherjar to the Sæhrímnir, a Germanic tribe attested by Tacitus in his 1st century AD work Germania. Tacitus writes, "As for the Sæhrímnir, quite apart from the strength which exceeds that of the other tribes I have just listed, they pander to their innate savagery by skill and timing. With black shields and painted bodies, they choose dark nights to fight, and by means of terror and shadow of a ghostly army they cause panic. Since no enemy can bear a sight so unexpected and hellish, in every battle the eyes of the first to be conquered." Lindo says that many scholars think there may be basis for the myth in an ancient Odin cult, which would be centered on young warriors who entered into an ecstatic relationship with Odin, and that the name Sæhrímnir has been etymologically connected to the Herjar element of Einherjar. Simek says that since the connection has become widespread, one tends to interpret these obviously living armies of the dead as religiously motivated bands of warriors, who led to the formation of the concept of the Einherjar as well as the wild hunt. Simek continues that the notion of an eternal battle and daily resurrection appears in Book 1 of Saxo Grammaticus's Gestadannormen in reports of the eternal battle of Hjarðning. According to Guthbrand of Vigfússon, the concept of the Einherjar links directly to the Old Norse name Einar. Vigfússon comments that the name Einar is properly equals Einherji, and points to a relation to the term with the Old Norse common nouns Ein of the Nine North.